Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Thanks as always for watching. Got a lot of questions here, so let's get right down to it. First one today comes from Spurs for Life 11. Hey Aaron, why isn't The Rock wrestling on Raw? Isn't that his duty while he's champion? It's not officially his duty. I mean, The Rock's duty is to draw pay-per-view buy rates. That's what WWE is counting on. They're paying The Rock all this money, and they're hoping that his appearances on pay-per-view lead to a huge increase in pay-per-view buy rates. So that's what The Rock is hired for. He doesn't need to be appearing on TV every week, although from what I've gathered, a lot of people are very disappointed with The Rock's run as WWE champion. I did a poll on NoDQ.com. It's very clear that fans want to see the WWE champion on the show every week. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, and I certainly don't think that The Rock needs to be wrestling on Raw. That would be a huge mistake. The Rock is a special attraction, and you should make people pay to see him wrestle. So having him wrestling, whether he's on TV or not, I don't think he should be wrestling on Raw. But certainly he could be making more appearances, but he's trying to balance a WWE career and a movie career, and he's got his new G.I. Joe movie coming out, and he's got to do the publicity for that. So The Rock's got a lot going on. It's hard for him to be on TV every week. Now, certainly WWE could do more. They could show video packages with The Rock, which they've been doing, but they could also have The Rock doing taped promos or whatever, but I guess they feel that they don't want to make it so obvious that he's doing something else right now, so they're just doing the video packages for the time being and doing stupid segments on Raw with John Cena and primetime players. But we will see The Rock, and hopefully they do something good, because right now there doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in Rock versus Cena 2, and they really need to step it up. WWE needs to do something big. You only got 2 more weeks now until WrestleMania, so hopefully when Rock appears on Raw, they do something big to sell everybody on WrestleMania. Alright, this one comes from Clucy01. Hey Aaron, love the show. Do you think that The Rock being off TV so much and the title not being on Raw every week is ruining the WrestleMania build-up so far? John Cena's promo with the primetime players was a car crash, and I think creative are struggling. Well, yeah, I mentioned this in the previous question. Definitely, the creative team doesn't really know what to do, because there's only so many promos you can show, and John Cena, he's out there, and they did that segment with the primetime players, which I thought was a terrible segment, really bad, and it is hurting the WrestleMania build, because when you do segments like that, you expect John Cena to be doing something with The Rock, and instead he's doing something with Titus O'Neil. I don't even know what he called himself. I don't even remember. I don't care. But that segment, I mean, I think that hurt the WrestleMania momentum, no doubt about it. And it's really important now, like I said, with the last 2 weeks until WrestleMania, you really got to step it up. And you can't just rely on John Cena versus The Rock. Just the names like that. You need to have a good build, and I think that's very important. And hopefully we'll get something big on Raw in the coming weeks. Alright, this one comes from Maddie Dawn. What do you think was missing from feuds like CM Punk versus Chris Jericho and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan? I thought they had the potential to be epic, but in my opinion, they both didn't live up to their best. Your thoughts? I thought that both those feuds were actually very good. I think the one big problem was that CM Punk was a WWE champion, and those matches were stuck in the middle of the show. I think that if you're having the WWE champion as CM Punk, you want to have him in the top match. You want to make that match the biggest match on the show. The problem is when you have CM Punk as WWE champion and you put him in a mid-card match, I mean, that's going to water it down, definitely. And when those guys are positioned in a middle-of-the-card match, they're only able to do so much, because, they're not supposed to outshine the guys in the main event. So the WWE champion should be in the main event. That's the way I feel it should be. So if you're going to put the title on CM Punk, let him and guys like Chris Jericho and Daniel Bryan go all out and have the best match possible. And, there were some good matches with those guys. I think that Punk and Jericho had a really good match at Extreme Rules, and Punk and Bryan at Over the Limit had a really good match. But yeah, it did hurt that they were positioned in the middle of the show and not the main event, not allowed to go out there and just steal the show and have the very best match possible. All right, this one comes from Chris Prez Announce. WrestleMania Chris Jericho versus Fandango equals waste of Jericho. I agree with that. I'm really disappointed with how WWE's handling Chris Jericho in WrestleMania. I don't even understand why you bring him back only to not have a good match for him at WrestleMania. And, some could say, it's going to build up Fandango. And by the way, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name correctly because I really don't give a damn. But yeah, I definitely would like to see something better. And, people have been talking about Chris Jericho doing all these jobs and he's been putting people over, which is great, but, he needs to get a win every now and then. I just think that I'd like to see Chris Jericho in a higher profile match at WrestleMania. I think it's definitely a waste of his name, and it just waters him down putting him in a match with Fandango at WrestleMania. Very disappointing. All right, this one comes from Andrew Haley 1. What do you think of the reopened Chris Benoit case petition that was posted on NoDQ's Facebook discussion page? Personally, I hope it turns out he was murdered so that WWE will give him the recognition that he deserves. Every time I see something like this, I shake my head. You guys just need to let it go. Chris Benoit killed his family. He killed himself. End of story. There's no real evidence to suggest that there was something different that happened. I think that, Chris Benoit, he had the brain issues, he had the concussions, and he just snapped. And after he snapped, he could not live with himself. That's what happened, and I think you guys just need to let it go and accept it. I mean, when I see stuff like this, it just comes off like people in denial that, they looked up to Chris Benoit, they idolized him, and they just cannot come to terms with what happened. And you just got to let it go and accept the reality. All right, this one comes from the Cool Guy 69. Hey Aaron, big fan. With the Undertaker versus CM Punk match at WrestleMania 29, I was wondering, what do you think of the Undertaker-CM Punk feud in 2009? I found it alright, though the Hell in a Cell match was completely ridiculous. I was not a big fan of that feud because I think that CM Punk had a lot of momentum coming off the feud with Jeff Hardy and the big win at SummerSlam, and then WWE just killed that momentum with one match, the match at Night of Champions, although I think CM Punk retained the title. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just thought that feud did CM Punk no favors, and I think he should have beaten The Undertaker in that feud and just got a big win there. Beating The Undertaker decisively, not doing a screw job. I think they did some kind of Montreal, I don't even remember, something like Montreal with a crooked referee or whatever, and then Undertaker beat him for the title. So, was not a big fan of that feud at all. I think that they could have done a lot more for CM Punk, and I think it really hurt his momentum a lot. Alright, this last one today comes from Joe Breeze 10. I always thought Chris Daniels was a good wrestler, but his personality was dull and boring. What are your thoughts on him these days? More specifically, the quote ring general and military awards, as well as the martinis and his promos. I like the change. I've always been a Chris Daniels fan, and I've met him several times in person. Really nice guy, and I feel bad that he never got that opportunity in WWE. I think he should have gotten that chance, and for whatever reason, it didn't just it never panned out. He's not the most charismatic guy, but he's an excellent wrestler, and I do think that he's really come into his own in recent months. I love the pairing with him and Kazarian. I think they bring out the best in each other, and they're very good friends in real life. And I really like the tag team. I think it's one of the better parts of TNA, and I'm just glad that he still has the opportunity to perform on a major stage. Granted, it's not WWE, but he's still got a big role in TNA. There was a couple years where he was gone from TNA, and it really felt like they gave him the shaft. He's busted his ass for TNA for so many years, and then when Bischoff and Hogan came in, he just got pushed aside. So I'm at least glad that they brought him back, and he's getting this renewed push. And I'd love to see him get a run with the TNA title someday. I think that would be cool, and I think he's deserving of it because he's really done a lot for TNA over the years. He's been one of those guys that's been around since the beginning, and he's given everything for TNA. So I do think it would be cool to see him at least have a short run with the TNA World title. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter. And I will see you next time for more No DQ&A video.